Hey basketball coaches and players, today I'm going to talk to you about what is an overload offense in basketball. So first, when you're playing up against a zone defense, because this is what an overload offense is for, is to beat a zone defense, there's a few weaknesses in zones. For one, when you stack the side or overload the side, that means that there's going to be more players on that side of the court than there are defenders. So there should always be at least one player who is open so that you can easily score. So let's get down to the clipboard and let's just check out the couple of different ways where you could overload the offense. Before we start, make sure to go check out my Unbeatable and Perimeter Basketball Defense books because they're absolutely fantastic if you're looking to win more games on the defensive side. So one of the most popular overloads in basketball is a 3-out, 2-in, which is when you've got 3 players on the outside of the court and 2 players in the post. This is the post. Now, from there, one of the easiest ways to overload the side is to pass over to player 3. Of course, right now, the zone, what is being played is a 3-2 zone defense, which is generally played like this. So we would have 3 players on the outside, 2 on the inside as well. Now, in a zone defense, you're guarding an area of the court and not an individual man. So what we're going to have here is player 1 passes to player 3. Player 1 is then going to go down into the low post, which in this case, we would have player 4 then front-facing player 5, player 5 red coming over, player 3 generally going to the high post, and player 1 generally going towards the high post on this side, usually. At this point in time, we would have player 4 go to the high post, and player 2 go towards the point. So now technically we would have player 4 open, and what this would do for us is to have player 3 pass into player 4, and now because player 4's zone is also the high post in most cases, he would be brought up or player 2 would be brought down. But now we would have, just like before, player 1 was guarding 2 players. We now have player 4 guarding 2 players as well. Player 5's zone only goes towards the middle of the key. So now we could have player 1 popping down or player 2 popping down. We now essentially have 2 players guarding 4. That's essentially how this is working. So from here, what we're going to have is obviously player 4 could take that shot. He could pass down to player 5 for an easy shot, which could then collapse player 4 down for a kick out for a 3. There's so many different options. But another way of beating and zone defense is not just by overloading the side, but also by swinging the ball around and continuing that overload onto the other side. So one of the ways that you could do this is to have player 3 pass up to player 2. We could then have player 5 set a screen for player 4. Player 4 go down towards the low post and set a screen for player 5. We would then have player 2 dribble over towards this side. Now, if you're afraid of a wing to point pass, which gets picked off quite often, you don't necessarily have to pass. You could have a screen and player 3 could then dribble over. It's up to you. But going back to this double screen, player 1 is going to be popping through to the to the free throw line extended. At this point in time, we would have player 3 pass over to player 1. Now we would be having the defense stretch out. We would have player 5 go to the high post, player 4 go to the low post, player 3 go down to this corner. Now, by swinging the ball, you've stretched out the defense, and if they're not very quick, even if they are quick, there's usually at least one player open. You may have a 3-point shot here, a high post shot, a low post shot, a high to low pass, something. But usually there's something that you're able to do with at least one player open. Now, against a 2-3 zone, which is one of the stronger zones for the low post, but one of the weakest zones for the high post, what we're going to have is, again, very simple, 3-out, 2-in. dribble over towards the side. Now, technically up top, their zones react like this, okay? So any of these double team locations are actually, overlap locations are double teams. That's what I should have said. So this would actually be a trap up top that would bring the wings up and the whole low baseline defenders up as well. We would have a pass over to player 3, which would bring player 3 up. The defense would shift like so, and player 1 would then pop down. At this point, when player 1 is popping down, we also want to see player 5 pop up. And again, we're now in an overload offense. We may have player 1 drop down to defend the high post, but generally speaking, what's going to happen if player 1 doesn't get that 3-point shot right away, we would have player 1 shuffling over, player 3 popping out, which then would have player 5 wide open in the high post. What a 2-3 zone protects against is low post scoring and not high post scoring. That's more for a 3-2 zone. Really quickly though, if you're looking to really destroy any team, go check out my Unbeatable and Perimeter Basketball defense books down in the description below. And then what's going to happen here is player 5 would then usually pop up. It would be a high to low pass for an easy basket. Make sure to go check out my Unbeatable and Perimeter Basketball defense books down in the description below. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.